Alright, hello guys and girls, and welcome to yet another video critique. It's me, Colin Blakely, once again. Today we're going to be looking at Paula Rathbone's work, and you guys know the drill. Look at them as images, look at them as they fulfill the requirements. So, let's just start right in. Let's see here now. This is looking just a little bit blurry on my screen. Okay, so we'll zoom out just here, and let's take a look. So we'll start here. Actually, I'm gonna go back up to the top here. Alright, so yeah, we'll just see here. I think of these first backyard images, I think I like either this one or this one. I like this. I think I like this one, actually. Let's talk about this one. So, I want to talk about this specifically because some of these are doing like a similar thing. Like they're kind of, I feel like they're almost like voyeuristic, and I feel like this is kind of the one that I feel like is doing it the best. It's pretty well framed, like this sort of thing. Sort of trees on the side, and the fence here are all framing devices, and yeah, I feel like you've put sort of the viewer in like a peeping Tom role, which is kind of always kind of fun. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of a nice. Well, I already said that. There's sort of a nice V shape that's happening here that really sort of you can see like your eye sort of is initially attracted to this white area, because again, just how our eyes work, and then the sort of lines push you up into here, which is kind of like, you're sort of in the role of the voyeur looking in and sort of trying to peek through the window there. And then, yeah, I feel like that's the one that's kind of, to me, it's really doing it. Here we're getting into the color. I feel like I would be energized. I don't know. I'm actually drinking some Mountain Dew right now, so it's like I don't know. It's making me think of like drinking Mountain Dew as I'm looking at all these. But yeah, like this, you got sort of the oops, whoa, a little bit more than I had intended to go there. I like the sort of pattern that's formed here. You got the nice dividing line. You have like the colors and the boom, 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 like the sort of rhythm here. These are kind of fun too. I like this. Although I think I'm gonna say shallower depth of field here. I feel like this is nice, but you don't necessarily need as much of the background. Now it's going to be a little bit tougher. The closer you are to your subject, the easier it is to get, real shallow depth of field. But, you can very easily, I think you could very easily knock that down, just sort of, just have it wide up. See, you have it at f8 here. I don't know what the, how fast your lens will go. But if you have this at, say, like an f2.8, an f1.8, if you have a lens that'll go down that much, or even an f4.5, you're going to get significantly less depth of field there. And I think that would be nice, just because it would really focus your gaze to, the sort of interaction between these forms, and then the interaction between their outfits and sort of the bright colors there. Zoom down here again. Ooh, we are getting some bright colors again. Maybe tighter crop here. So it's like, just about this, like it's a pattern. Kind of more like, I think, more like what you're doing here, where I think you could do the same sort of approach here as well, where it's that, it's almost like an abstract, to where it's like a pattern of boom, 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 repeated lines, sort of a rhythm. And this is kind of fun too. Nice, nice. So I would say, again, oops, too far. Why is my computer being dumb? This is actually not the computer I normally use. It's sort of a loaner, so it just doesn't quite respond as quickly as I'm used to, but that's okay. So I like this. I like that it's a little bit more of an abstracted thing. Like I feel like here, like you really get an idea, like, okay, these are, these sort of hanging things. But here, it's like a little bit more open to multiple interpretations. Like it could be, again, almost like an abstract. But yeah, I feel like a little bit less depth of field, just because I'm not as interested in sort of these elements other than, as negative space around the sort of more brightly colored, interesting geometric shapes. And in I just, want a little shallower depth of field so that the negative space is really like truly negative space and it's not trying to pull my focus from these things. But like, I feel like that's, to me, that's interesting. Since I'm the one creating your stuff, yeah, that's my opinion. So take that as you will. And again, I feel like I don't always stress this enough, but just because I make a suggestion on someone's image doesn't mean that I think it's bad or even unsuccessful. I feel like if I say enough times, like, try this, try that, crop this, less depth of field, slightly recompose, that you guys will start to think in that way. That you start to think like, okay, I'm shooting this, like I have this set up in one way. What if I recompose a scene? What if I try lightening or darkening the exposure? What if I try, rearranging some of the elements? Like, I feel like that's one of the ways that you can really grow as a photographer most quickly and most successfully is by so shoot the scene the way that you see it, like the way that you envision it, the way that it comes to you, however. Do your initial thing with the scene. Compose it, frame it up in your viewfinder, shoot it, and then, think about, I think it's always good to think about what else can I do, and this, it's sort of what she's doing here, right? So maybe if this is how she saw it initially, she's recomposing, she's tightening up, she's going, okay, what else can I do here? I can try this, and working with some of the shapes and some of the negative space in between the shapes. This is what you should be doing, So she's recomposing it, but then also, maybe you try using shallower depth of field. Maybe you try, if you have you're using say a 50mm lens, why not try something a little longer to sort of compress the space? Why not try a wide angle lens to sort of, to play with the distances, the relative distances between things, to give it a slight distortion. What about a fisheye? What would that look like? So, you really, I think if you have that mindset of always thinking about what else you can do, it will really serve you, especially as, as aspiring photographers, aspiring image makers. I think that's really important. And I would say just in my own work, I almost always like pretty much pre-visualize what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna shoot, um, like almost entirely. Like a lot of times I'll sketch it out, and then the finished product held next to the sketch almost always looks identical. But if you look at, like, if I was to make a contact sheet and you were to look at my contact sheet, you would see that. You would see, and you would also just see me working the scene and sort of, trying out different stuff, because you just never know, especially if you are working with a model, if you have a whole lighting setup, like, work your scenes and really, you just never know when something more interesting is going to come out of the process. So anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. I get off on a tangent. So I would say, Paula, that your most successful image is probably either one of these or that one of the first ones I talked about, looking through the fence. Again, probably the most visually interesting, so has the most visual layers and elements, and yeah. So, trying to think, I'm once again looking around the room, and oh, okay. So now that we've reached the end of the critique, the phrase that pays, the word to post below, is popcorn. Because I just had some popcorn right before I recorded this. And yeah, I'm still picking it out of my teeth. So, popcorn. And yes, thank you for watching. Pretty quickly after this, you're going to start to see the video critiques for the next shooting assignment, which, as of the time I'm recording this, was due last night. I'm going to try and get on. I always like to be pretty proactive with those so that you guys can have time to watch them and have time to comment on them before the deadline. Although if I ever blow my deadline, I don't expect you to, comment on something that I haven't posted yet. So, so yeah, don't stress that. Just check back in. And if I ever do miss the deadline or get super close to the deadline, I usually just, I'll say, if people don't turn it in, I don't hold it against them. If people do turn it in, I tend to, sometimes I'll just sort of give them an extra point or something, kind of a little bit of a bonus. But I don't count it against you if it's a mistake that I made. So, thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you next time around.